You think you need a customer success manager, but you're wrong. You think you need a client success manager, but you're wrong. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Kyle Mao. I'm the founder and owner here at HireUA. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the two differences in these positions. Depending on what type of business you're running will determine whether you need a client success manager or a customer success manager or a customer service agent, whatever you want to call it. All I know is I'm going to get pretty tongue-tied saying client success, customer success. I'm going to try to get through this video and I'll explain the differences and what you need to look out for when you're hiring for this role. So depending on what your business is obviously going to impact the type of role that you need. And it's very important that you understand the difference between a client and the difference between a customer. So HireUA actually recently hired a client success manager. Her name is Daria, and she's done a fantastic job because she understood the difference between the two. If it is a client, that is a long-term relationship. A CSM, client success manager, that person is theirs. They are in charge of that client for the entirety of the business relationship with your business. Whereas a customer support agent or a customer success manager, there's a difference between those two as well. It's in and out. Like, think about customer service. It means that in a brick and mortar setting, someone's coming in, they have an issue with their headphones or whatever it might be, and they're getting the problem solved right there on the spot. Will they come back? Yes, they could be a repeat customer, but they could also see any other customer support agent and have the same problem solved. There is very little need for a personal one-to-one relationship. Whereas if it's a client, let's say you're a big bank and you've got people that are putting, $1 million into the bank. Don't you want them to have a person that they trust at the business? Someone who's their guy or their girl? That makes a lot of sense. So it makes sense that you need to look at your business and say, do I have clients or do I have customers? And you can interchange those words a little bit, but it is very important that you differentiate which one of those that matter in your business, because you can't treat a customer like a client. Like, imagine that you're a brick and mortar store. Imagine you're an e-commerce store. That's a better example. Are you going to give each customer their own individual person, their point of contact at your brand or your store? Absolutely not. Of course you're not going to do that. You're 100% not going to give them that because it's not feasible. That's a high turnover position. You might have thousands of customers. You can't possibly match them all up with somebody. It's just when a ticket comes in or an issue comes in, it goes to the next available agent and that's it. They handle it. It gets escalated as needed, whatever it might be. Whereas using the bank example, if somebody's got $1 million and they've got a question about what's happening with it, you want them to be able to talk to someone they're familiar with. Getting their phone fixed is one thing. Figuring out where their money is, totally different scenario. That's why when you go into a bank and you open an account, you get to know somebody. You say, oh, this is Sarah. She's the branch manager here at the bank. She'll be your point of contact. So that's like in the agency world. If you're running an online agency, you have clients. You don't have customers. You want to keep that person around your business as long as humanly possible. Customer service, you want them, but you want their issues solved and them out the door as soon as possible. You want that ticket closed. That, my friends, is the big difference between a client success manager and a customer support agent or a customer success manager. Customer support agent obviously is somebody who just takes the order, so to speak. They get their ticket, they try to close the ticket, and they go on to the next. It's like an assembly line. Customer success manager would be someone who manages all of them. So just the person above them, a supervisor, an operations person, whatever you want to call them. There's also, though, a huge difference between a client success manager and a customer success manager, because if you think about that, again, a client success manager has clients. That is their point of contact at the business. They have a long-term relationship with them. A customer success manager only gets tickets when their people below them can't handle it. So they're like the supervisor, gets escalated to them. And that all makes sense. Like, as you lay it out, as you think of it, this is very cut and dry. Do people stick around a long time in your business? Do you want to have consistent, constant communication with your client? Yes. If so, you need to go down this path and get a client success manager. If you're somebody running an e-commerce store where you are opening tickets, or a software company, that's a good example as well, a SaaS, where you're opening a ticket, someone's got an issue and it's resolved and it's marked done, great. That's a customer person, not a client person. Now, they're interchangeable to a certain extent. Like somebody who is really good at customer service can certainly learn how to be a good client success manager. Absolutely. And I would say on the other side though, someone who's done like client work, like again, let's use the bank example. Someone who's, helped clients manage millions of dollars in a bank is not going to want to go and start answering support tickets for that bank. Like, oh, sir, I can't log into my online banking today. Like, how can I help you? Oh, thank you for calling. No, client success manager is generally going to be a position above a customer support person. So keep that in mind when hiring. If you're looking for someone to have a intimate one-to-one relationship with your clients, you definitely want someone who knows how to handle that. You might be able to train the right customer support person in that, and there's a good chance that they have the core foundational skills in order to do a good job in that role. It's not the same. And I would be very, very cautious on the other side. If you're just looking for a basic customer support agent, and again, someone's held a way more advanced position, you have to say, oh, how long are they really going to stick around in this role? Is it really feasible for them to be in this in a long-term basis? Are they going to be happy? Are they going to be bored? And then of course, the final question is there an opportunity for them to make enough money? Like a customer support agent gets paid pretty much by the hour, right? It's you show up, you clock in, and that's about it. Client success manager, sometimes they got to pick up the phone after hours. Sometimes there's performance. If the client spends more money, they get a cut of that. Sometimes there's a retention sort of performance bonus. So all these different factors would make me very hesitant to recommend someone with client experience to do a basic customer support job. It's a much more horizontal transition for them to go to customer success manager, customer support manager, and manage all the people at customer support. Again, I would say client success manager, customer success manager, customer support agent. Huge, huge, huge difference between these three things. But a lot of business owners, and I hear it all the time, I need a CSM to handle my, support tickets, or I need a customer support person to handle my clients. And there's a big difference between those two. Like a client success manager, if they screw that up, you lose a client. That's maybe a client that might be paying you $5,000, $10,000 a month. You don't want to lose orders, but if you lose one $50 order on your e-commerce store, or your physical store gets one less customer because someone did a bad job with customer service, that happens. That's part of the game. But what you don't want, and of course you're going to lose clients too, but what you don't want is someone who doesn't know how to handle and build that long-term relationship. You want your clients to love your CSM to the point where that's their person. That person is mine. That's the person who's got my back at this company. Whereas again, customer support, in and out the door, in and out the door. Those are the big differences between those two roles. And it's very important that you get the right people. So again, you can train a customer support person to do client success. They have the core foundational skills, but you do need to screen and make sure they understand everything. And I would highly recommend, if you are an agency owner who is looking to hire a client success manager, ask them to differentiate between these two. So again, when we hired Daria recently, that was one of the key questions that I said, please, in your own words, describe the difference between customer service and client success. And anyone who couldn't answer that in a reasonable way, I wasn't expecting a perfect answer like this video, but anyone who couldn't answer that at a level that satisfied me, but they didn't go to the next round, plain and simple. When I interviewed people with the customer support experience, if they were too in a box, then they were disqualified. And the other thing that was really important was to give them scenario situations. And you can do this both for clients and for customer roles. Give them actual issues that have come up. So for example, if you're hiring a client success person, go pick out your worst client and give them the scenario of something that happened with that client. Customer support, give them some of the worst support tickets and say, how would you respond? Put them on the spot. Let them know beforehand, that you're going to be expected to answer something like this on the interview, but put them on the spot, put them in the scenario and see what they come up with. And if you're trying to interview someone for a client position and they're too rigid in their response, then that's a red flag. If you say like, oh, this client is really unhappy. They've been with us for 6 months and they're unhappy about the performance of their recent campaign. Do you really want your client manager saying, oh, thank you, Mr. Client. We'll look into this and get back to you. You're ticket number 5 in line. We'll respond to you at our earliest convenience. You want them to say, no, Mr. Client, I'm so sorry this happened. I'm going to dive right into your analytics. I'm going to compare your previous campaigns and see why this one wasn't successful. You want a much more nuance than, oh, I'll get to it and get back to you. So that is a key differentiator that you as a business owner, depending on the type of business that you run, you must understand. In conclusion, I hope you found this video explaining the difference between a client success manager, a customer success manager, and a customer support agent to be helpful. And in summary, keep in mind a client and a customer are two very different things, two very different business models, so to speak. And obviously there's going to be different businesses within each of those paths, but you need to understand which one you have. Keep in mind that generally speaking, that most prestigious role is going to be client, then customer success manager, and then customer support agent. Someone who's up here long term, I mean, they'll be able to do the job, but may not be happy with that. Someone with the right skills and foundational at the bottom can certainly be moved up into those higher roles, but they will need training and guidance. Understand the difference between these two, and your next hire will be a success, and you'll have a much smoother integration process to your business. Thank you again for watching the video. I hope you got some value out of it. If you are interested in hiring for a position, any of the three I've talked about today, HireUA can certainly help. Click the link below and subscribe to the channel, and you can actually just click the link right there, go to our website and click on book a discovery call, and the team and I will get back to you about whether or not it can be a good fit and your budget and your role. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel, and there's lots of good content coming about outsourcing, hiring, scaling operations, everything else in regards to that, so you can grow and prosper with your business. Thank you again for tuning in. See you next time.